Round 7 of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup. We're in Calgary, Alberta in Canada, the first time in 5 seasons that the World Cup has visited the venue for the 1988 Winter Olympic Games. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, in its 30-plus year history, this track has seen plenty of entertainment. We should see a lot more today with our bumper men's skeleton field.
Yeah, it's a longer track and got some long straightaways in it, which is different than the tracks we've seen in the last 3 or 4 Olympics. But hey, a long flat start, no surprise that Tretyakov has the start record. And you know, you have to get in, get down. You got this little couple curves up top. You can't fall asleep here. Got to be very quiet. Let the momentum, you know, continue to accelerate here, and then now you start to drop off this curve 4. Quick sharp left, and then you got a pretty good acceleration point here. 5, little counter curve, 3/4 combination. Big pressure in 6. Now this omega curve, you can loop up and down here. Lose a lot of time. Now this 8, this is the slingshot effect of the track. Long straightaway, one of the steepest straightaways on the planet. Now this 360-degree whip around that the Jamaican bobsled team made famous. The exit going in uphill. And now the bottom part of the track pretty flat, but you could still find some places to pick up some time and speed down here in the bottom track. We saw that in the women's competition we just saw. You threw and down, and Martin, a very easy track to get down. It's just very difficult to get down fast.
Start record and track record set by Martin Dukurs, the eventual winner, and Alexander Tretyakov, the silver medalist. Not the last World Cup, but the one before that. Hello to Don Parsons, who was the bronze medalist that day, his first World Cup
First
medal.
ever World Cup victory.
It was.
I think his last until he won the Olympic medal.
That was his first medal, and the Olympic bronze was his second big one as well. Alexander Tretyakov is our World Cup points leader, and again, we'll be awarding the Crystal Globe after tomorrow's races. This is the makeup for the missing race in Koenigsegg, Bavaria, and so we have another race coming up tomorrow for the women and for the men. So there's Martin's. Yeah, it is pretty mild. It was not that warm at the top of the track yesterday. It was
nasty.
Around -20.
Just say it was
lots
nasty.
of wind. There's Axel Jung. He's also faring pretty well this season. Jung lying in 5th in the World Cup standings. Hasn't won a race. Top 4 have. Tretyakov, Sun Min Jung, Korea, Nikita Chegibov, and Martin Dukurs. And Thomas there in the background on the left. Thomas Dukurs was missing last weekend in Lake Placid. He was testing equipment in Whistler. The first time in 134 World Cups that he had not been present. So he's broken that streak. He's now on a streak of 1. Dave Cheshire, Canada is the first of 24 sleds. This is a really bumper field, and there'll be some names in this race that won't be in tomorrow's race because points in the World Cup have changed since Koenigsegg when all these entries were put in. So 24 sleds, fastest 20 go through. And we've got a massive mix of experience and raw rookies. Getting the penultimate race of the World Cup season underway, Canada's Dave Cheshire, the new dad, 39 years old, in his 44th and perhaps penultimate World Cup start.
Well, the Grizz, 14th in World Cup points, 11th in St. Moritz, his best this season. First guy down, the Rabbit.
Last World Cup here, he was a fine 8th position. He knows the track well. And again, we're looking at him try and set the style that we should be looking for. Nice, smooth lines, no movement visible on the sled, no toes dragging. Look at that, great aerodynamic bullet form.
For the tallest guys in the field.
122.6, that's 76 miles an hour into the Kreisel.
11th in World Cup last season, so he slipped a little bit so far this year. Of course, he was also a father now, so might have a few other different things on his mind.
I want to say hi to his wife Jess, who we last saw in Whistler last year. 121.8, 75.6 miles an hour at the bottom.
43. That is a second 1200ths off the pace. I think we're going to get down within 20 hundredths or so of that record, 2500ths. The Grizz broke into the podium last year with a 3rd in Winterberg, and that season hasn't achieved anything like that this year. But he certainly always gets the style points for that helmet. Big man, 6'3" almost, and tough to get in that aerodynamic.
Hope they can push faster next one.
All right, they've got 3 more starts at least. Another one today and then tomorrow's race. Next up, Austin Florian of the USA. Rookie on the World Cup this season. This is his 6th World Cup start. So he missed Sigulda. Raced here 4 times before in the North America's Cup. That's the junior level of sliding here in USA and Canada. Double silver medalist last time out here in November 2017.
Well, they like his ability to start the sled.
I like his speed, I like his attitude, I love his helmet.
Yeah, he went to Clarkson University, which is about an hour from Lake Placid, no good engineering school. Connecticut athlete.
Hey,
Look at that
there we
start.
go.
Look
Yeah.
at that. That's what they like about him. You know,
1800s off the track record. We will see faster, but not too many.
we're going to see a couple other starters in the field who are new in the sport, Martin. And this is the first year after the Olympic Games. This is when you see those new faces, retirements, attrition, and then athletes like this come along.
2 top 10 finishes, Altenberg and 10th last time in Lake Placid. This is a good looking run as well. Nice, smooth, flowing style.
Beat the Grizz pretty good at the start.
121.3, 75.
He's holding it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's late there. Going to cost him. This might get down a single digit.
Yeah, because he's lost a kilometre an hour to...
Well, this is, he's late there too,
Yeah.
but this is where Grizz just has that track experience. Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
2300.
so second.
That's okay. Caleb Smart looks on.
Yeah, that could be a top 10 run.
Hey, start time. Give him a few years. Hopes he stays healthy. Could be somebody the U.S. could see challenge for medals.
Well, only one athlete in today's field has fewer World Cup starts than Austin Florian.
Well, this is not the way to do it on the exit of Kreisel.
Yeah.
Late, and then Nick's late down here in 12. You know, and it's, you know, we make that mistake. He's late there. Look how he go to the middle of the curve. Look at how much steering. Then he's late there in the exit, and, you know, a lot of time left. A lot of
Big
time on the
goofy
bottom.
smile. Big goofy smile from Austin Florian. Nice stuff. Next up, Wang Changgung of China. 11th World Cup start for him. He's kind of been in and out of the World Cup for the last 2 or 3 weekends. Holding the sled, a man who has plenty of experience here. Won in 2006-07, won the Worlds in 2005. Jeff Payne of Canada then. Still is of Canada, but he's now coaching the Chinese.
A few other Canadians coaching the Chinese too.
In fact, that's Willie Schneider, who was the bronze medalist here in 97-98.
Come on.
Yeah.
Is Willie back there?
Ryan Davenport won. Jeff Payne was only silver that day. Jeff has got plenty of experience in that Chinese crew.
Jeff's down in the coach's box, so we'll see him on the flash in. And Jeff, the silver medalist at the 2006 Olympics, because he lost to his teammate Duff Gibson in one of the most exciting silver medal ones I ever saw in my career.
Duff took bronze in the Worlds in 2005 behind Gregor Staley and the champion Jeff Payne.
Canadians have been real strong in the sport of skeleton.
Third fastest run.
Let's do hard hit there. As soon as I said he had good form, I'm getting a chance.
Well, thank you for taking that one from me. it was you or me.
Yeah. Hanging in there. Start time. Not bad. 5:17. Not a bad start.
He
56
rattled it off the final corner. Look, he's torn the vest there.
There's
There's
Payne
Jeff Payne on the left. Yeah. Torn his vest. That's a big hit with his shoulder. Yeah, he's a tall guy. He's not the squarish-shouldered swimmer in the field, but
pretty good coming out. We saw of him in 2017. You know, he's only got about 3 years of sliding under his belt, and Payne was high on him in the first season.
Well, there's Willie Schneider at the back. Builds the sleds as well.
Willie Schneider. I haven't seen Willie yet. Wow, good to see him.
Yeah.
Hard hit out of Kreisel. This is the
Look
real hard hit.
Up on the wall there, that dark mark, that's the expansion joint. You just bounced off. You just get bounced clean off.
Well, look at the little malfunction.
Yeah.
The uniform tear there.
Next up, a man who has got big square shoulders. His dad, his coach on the right, also a strongman competitor and a bobsledder. Look how big the apple has grown in the shade of that tree.
His son's a little bigger.
Vlad.
This is the thickest man on the tour right here.
Vlad has raced here in Intercontinental Cup last season, and he also came here pre-season with his dad, but he said it was so warm they almost didn't get any sliding in.
Probably a 5:20 start. He doesn't get a good start.
He also slipped with his first step.
5:20.
5:20 is on the money.
And the thing about him is he's what you call a glider. I mean, great form on these longer tracks. I think he's going to be impressive in Whistler. Whistler, high-speed track, I think is good for his style.
He's kind of a bowling ball, isn't he? He's got a lot of mass, and if he fires it off the top and doesn't hit too many pins on the way down.
And he's young. What's he, 22?
Only 2/10 back off a 10th slower start than our leader, Dave Chris.
Look at the form.
Yeah.
Look at the form. He's been in the same position on that little tray the whole length. He's down to 1800s now. And this is what a start, you know, that's 3000, 2000s back.
And this is ahead of a Canadian who knows the track well and has at least
holding
as
on
much
a third.
mass.
2500s back now. A little bit behind Austin, Florian Austin from the U.S.
Losing a tiny amount at the line. All right.
520, 75 mile an hour speed. He's got the third best of 4. Boy, the China athlete had great speed.
Yes, he does.
Second best speed on the track. Wow.
Back a little bit. And Vladislav Harrisgavich as well. He's another guy who generates speed all the way down, and he does try and maintain that aerodynamic form. Watch the foot slip. Almost face planted there.
Yeah, almost high in the first step.
Well, that's because his foot just slipped out.
Look at him come out at 8, though. This was some quiet steering. I mean,
look how relaxed he is, just like a marshmallow on the sled. That's what you want to see. If they're tight and tense, then it just sends vibrations through the sled.
He comes down the track like he's asleep on the sled. Look at the form.
Well, if in doubt, do nothing is the golden rule here in Calgary, and he tried to live up to that. Next up, Nikita Tretyakov. Not been here before. By the way, only 8 of our 24 sliders have ever raced in a World Cup on this track. Come on, really? I think only 16 have ever raced here at all, and Tretyakov is not among them. Won the season opener in Segunda, one of 4 winners this year, 498, big start.
Yeah, that's his second best start to the American.
Now we will see sliders go a 10th and maybe even as much as 2/10 quicker than him.
Well, this is the junior Russian rocket. When are we going to stop calling him the junior Russian rocket?
Well, only when Tretyakov eventually retires, which will be not before Beijing, I'm guessing. I think Tretyakov, Dukurs and Wyatt
nice lines.
Go head-to-head.
Whoa, boy, those are some speed lines right there. Second best all the way down the track.
Away.
Speed. Still the second best all the way down the track, but he's got the best time. Now he's in the leader's box.
Gap's coming down though.
No, he's the leader for sure. Look at the speed of the bottom.
Down to 1400s, 1100s. So the gap came down. He was in front of Grizz all the way.
He beat Grizz by 12 at the top of the track and only 11 at the bottom. Grizz had him by a 1/10 of a mile an hour.
But from the Kreisel on down, he was just dropping speed. It wasn't a bad-looking run, though.
You give the Grizz that start, he's going to be the leader by far.
Wow. And also, Tretyakov needs to find his old
Look at
speed.
that drift, little drift out there.
Just brushes the
exit
wall.
of Kreisel. You want to exit. You go uphill there. You see that little, TV doesn't do it justice, but then into the finish, that wasn't perfect, but he is the leader.
Don't know where his speed has gone. All right, Nikita Tretyakov is the leader, 5 of 24 sleds down in our first heat here in Calgary. Afternoon sliding Friday, Calgary, Alberta in Canada. World Cup points leader is Alexander Tretyakov. The Russian, 2 races away potentially from his second career Crystal Globe. But the chasing pack is close.
Here's another guy that just doesn't get hurt. I mean, we've seen him now for about 10 years.
Wasn't on the podium here last year, but silver medal the previous 4 trips that he made here. Every winner in Calgary. Is that going to change this year?
Look at the start. Look what the best 2 starts in the women's competition, the first heat, Russians. Here the best start here is the Russians. Second best start is Austin Florian from the United States.
Tretyakov, 3 wins this season from 6 starts.
3,500's lead. He might bleed some back, but at this rate, needs an exit without crushing into the wall on the right-hand side of our screen, which he does. So that's going to throw some time away.
Well, that suddenly opens the door.
As I say that, he's still accelerating.
Dukurs.
Boy, that's a rough ride, and he's still fast, Martin.
Well, it's like Lake Placid last week. He's obviously worked out how to ride this bucking Bronco, and he likes it.
Second over his teammate.
Likes it fast and loose.
Well, as he gets in the twilight of his career, Martin, he still is the track record holder at the start.
Yeah, half a second off the downtime record as well.
He's 12 hundredths away from his start record.
Yeah.
Here, though, this is the little lean at the top of the track. Then the exit of 8. Looking to pick his line. Oh, he's not absolutely perfect there.
Over that
And
expansion
then here,
joint and here as well.
This is where I thought he'd lose a lot of time, and, well, he's half second ahead.
Alexander Tretyakov of Russia, the leader and World Cup points leader, fast and loose here. Next up is Thomas Dukurs. Missed a World Cup last week for the first time in 14 seasons.
14 years, that's
And
before
that
you
was-
started.
Yeah. Elizabeth Meyer was 9 last time Thomas was not in a World Cup race. He was testing equipment in Whistler, building up to the World Championships. This is his 117th World Cup start. Silver medalist last time out on the track, 4.96 the getaway.
Well, he's a tall athlete. I think he's probably at least tied for the tallest in the field.
This is his 8th World Cup on this track alone.
Martin, I was in Latvia as an older when we had a World Cup race where he went from 13th place to 1st.
Yeah.
And how many World Cup wins does he get?
1.
That was it.
Yeah. And that was the first of his unbroken string of World Cups until last week. 2300's back.
He's bringing it back. 3rd best start, 2nd. Little skid there. He's in the wrong side of the 11 curve.
Slower than Tretyakov,
Lost
slower
some
than
time there to
Tretyakov.
Tretyakov on the bottom.
Gaps opening up. He's going to be ahead of Nikita Tretyakov at the bottom. Now that's good speed. 121.8. That is good speed at the bottom.
40th.
Right.
40 hundredths back. You know, Tretyakov, we call the Russian rocket because of his start time, but he was a rocket on the bottom part of the track.
Yeah.
He didn't, you know, he took the start, but he was flying. Dukurs second, 4/10 back.
And
Same
again,
exact speed as Tretyakov. Look at the start. Look at how the angle he's got there. Of course,
Yeah.
he's 6'3",
Yeah.
unlike his brother Martins, who's coming up. But, you know, this exit here, now watch the skid. That's not perfect.
And again, you know, with double races here, the brothers will be trying something different, each of them, on each sled in each race. Some of it will work, some of it won't. We'll have to wait and see what Martins has got in a couple of sleds' time. Between the brothers, though, is Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain. 27-year-old making his 11th World Cup start.
Track is cleared for Marcus.
Raced here in the Intercontinental Cup 2 successive seasons, January and November 2017.
6th in World Cup points. He's doing pretty good.
He's
Good year.
having a standout season. He's been a silver medalist here as well. Let's see if he can get himself into the top half dozen.
Well, the reason he's doing so well, Martin, right there, start time. This is one of those other young athletes that has emerged in the quad, the first year of the quad, the 4 years building up to the Olympics. And when you got a start time like that, and you start getting some good equipment below you and understanding these tracks, you're going to start posting some results. Again, he's 6th in World Cup points.
If you start 100 slower than Tretyakov, you are never out of the frame, are you? 800s back, behind Alexander Tretyakov, but ahead of Thomas Dukurs, who was the silver medalist behind brother Martins last time out on the track. 121.5, 75.5, decent speed, the gap's growing.
Well, you expect that. This is where the experience factor comes in, Martin.
And only 3 trips this week, don't forget, in training for anybody. Decent experience on the track. That's a good run.
Great run. 6th in World Cup points. 5th here. Eric Bernardo, CP looks on. He knows he's got a pupil. prize, what I call a prize pupil right
Yeah.
here. This guy's got some talent.
Another one of Woody's wonders. There's a whole bunch more in Lillehammer.
If you could start the sled, you have a chance.
Yeah.
This guy could start the sled.
Yes, he can. Yeah, very strong season so far for Marcus Wyatt, and it's
Technique. Look how close his feet are. And remember, we saw Dukurs with his feet way away from the sled. Look at the eyes. Then here the exit. Very quiet on the exit of 8. Can't see where he lost his time, Martin. Those are some pretty textbook lines.
Well, he'll already be beating himself up about the corners he got wrong. Okay, perfection is what counts here. Martis Dukurs of Latvia, a 5-time winner on this track.
How many World Cup wins?
51 now.
Out of how many
70
races?
World Cup podiums.
120 races?
117. He's now tying with his brother because Thomas missed one.
Unbelievable.
34 years old and still one of the fastest animals on the planet.
It's unbelievable.
485.
Last
So
week he had the best start in the second run.
yeah,
You know, just another day at the office for
he
him.
has a special drawer where he goes when the chips are down, doesn't he?
You can see the glare of the sun on the track. Tied to the hundreds now. Tretyakov will beat him by 200s at the start. That's a good sign. Now 200s back.
All right, this is classic Martins Dukurs. Again, you watch the video and you see, where did he do anything? Look, you can just about see the feet swaying behind him.
400s back. Tretyakov.
123, decent speed. Tretyakov was a fraction slower there. That's the fastest we've seen
400s
so
back.
far.
He stopped the bleeding.
Here he comes.
He could find a fast line. Not there.
Oh, look at the way he's got his head right down, though.
But he
125
drifted.
at the line. He's
Still 4. If he didn't make that mistake on the exit to Kreisel, that tap, he might have got into a tie with Tretyakov. 400s back. Martin, we saw it last week in Lake Placid. He had his head down in the last 3 curves.
Yeah.
He did it here, too.
He was nearly 3 miles an hour faster than Tretyakov through the final speed trap.
77.8. That's ridiculous. No one else is into the 76 range.
And he's already with his dad. He's already diagnosing where he got it wrong. And here's
Look at him
what
dive out of this curve. Look at him.
low.
No one comes out like that on
Yeah,
that
comes
angle.
out low, but that means he's steering hard on the ice.
But this mistake was down there in the exit of the entrance to Kreisel. This was pretty good out of Kreisel.
Yeah.
But here, that tap. Look at him put his head down.
Yeah.
Listen, that's it. What's the speed? 77 miles an hour.
So he's putting his head down. He's arching his back up to create that sort of motorcycle racer's hump on the back. Unbelievable technique.
Talent.
Right, from 117 World Cup starts to 13 for Kilian Freiherr von Schleinitz of Bavaria and Germany.
Say that again. Say that again.
Yeah. 12th place in the last World Cup race here. He's also raced in the Intercontinental Cup where he took 2 bronze medals last time out.
Start.
496,
Not
that's
bad,
not bad.
not bad.
Anything sub 5 is decent here.
His brother's a luge athlete, right? You see his
Yeah.
brother in luge. I think he might have retired though.
On the circuit, that's Kilian von Schleinitz.
2500s back, 6th to 5th. Not a good sign when you drift away from your start. If you start 5th, you want to at least finish 5th. 3300s back, still at 6th.
All right, there's some big gaps. This is just behind Dave Christian and Marcus Wyatt in Great Britain. 4400s back, speed is 75 miles an hour, decent exit. Can hear how brittle the ice is, the sled rattling along.
Like our weather conditions here have been extremely cold. The track crew hasn't had a lot to work with. The ice is very dry. They've had no chance really to water the ice.
500s behind Marcus Wyatt, just out of the top half dozen. We've got 10 of our 24 sleds down in the first of our 2 heats here in our makeup race for Koenigsee. So penultimate race of the World Cup.
So
Season finale comes up tomorrow.
So the track record's 55.31. They've gone 55.85. So we're still a half second off. And that's relative to the dry ice, as track manager Tyler Seitz pointed out to us in the women's first heat.
Look at a bounce there over that expansion joint where the sled comes up and whacks you in the chest.
It's easier sitting here, isn't it?
Yeah, nice exit. Gets it all straightened up nicely. Down at the bottom of the track, in and out of the shade and the sunshine. So Kilian von Schleinitz, 7th. 10 down, 14 to go. Alexander Tretyakov, our narrow leader. Martin Haven and John Morgan trackside in Calgary, Alberta for the penultimate World Cup of the season. 10 down, 14 to go. Florian Auer of Austria now in his 17th World Cup.
He was a little sneaky in training.
He's only been here once before, but he was saying that was on his old Huber sled. Now he's on a Willi Schneider sled. He said, not only don't I really know the track, but the sled is so different, it completely changes everything. Again, brought up like his brother, as his dad was, on the track in Innsbruck, which is a real glider's paradise. It's all about keeping your form, trying to do as little as humanly possible.
9th best start, which is way better than he used to do. 10th so far. Hey, he's you know, 8th in World Cup points.
Brother Alexander did a great job calling the men's race in Eagles in Austria. 10th at the line, that's a good run.
Best, 10th.
Yeah. So 56.89, and in 9th place Vladislav Heriskavich is just about 900s in front of him.
One top 10 finish in the season, 9th in St. Moritz.
Yep.
11th on his home track in Eagles. 10th in Sigulda.
Yeah, first time in Sigulda. That was a really good start to the season.
Listen, these guys had all they could do, him and his brother, to make the cut.
Yep.
Remember 2015 in Innsbruck, we were so proud of his father, former world champion in 1993. There, 20 years later, or 2015 or 95.
Hello, Lena.
So here's the legacy of the Auer family.
Well, Christian Auer, bronze medalist here in the 96 Worlds.
Come on.
Yeah, behind Ryan Davenport and Franz Lager. Austria went 2-3 behind Ryan Davenport, the local boy. Next up, Axel Juncker, Germany. One World Cup race here. Last time out, he was 5th. Has never seen the track before or since.
Come on.
Yeah. This is his 39th World Cup. He's done, you know, almost 6 complete seasons, and he's only been here once. That's how long it's been.
5th in World Cup points. Opener in Sigulda, 8th. After that, 2nd, 5th, 3rd, 5th, 5th. Pretty consistent.
Just started only 600 slower than Tretyakov, so Axel's speed is coming right back.
Top German, if you think of it, the Germans dominate every sport, every discipline. And this one here, they're chasing down Russians and Latvians.
Last German medal here,
that
bronze.
Korean guy.
Bronze for Frank Rommel, 2011-12.
Frank Rommel.
And before that, Willi Schneider, 97-98. Has not been a happy hunting ground for German athletes in men's skeleton.
Hanging in there, 4th back. Oh, lost a lot there. You're going to have to steer hard to finish to get out the wire. Too much steering.
Not bad,
Look,
6th at the line.
He went from 4th before the finish to 6th. You know, that was the tap before he got in, threw him over the middle of the curve. Then he's got to steer hard not to go way up. When you steer like that, at that pressure point, it causes you to slow down.
I told a lie. Willi Schneider wasn't the last before Frank Rommel. Andy Böhm got silver behind Ryan Davenport in 88-89. Yeah, Andy Böhm.
What year?
88-89.
Come on.
Yeah, come on. 98-99. Sorry, not 88. 98-99.
This is decent here.
Yeah, nice looking run again from
Late
Axel.
there, though. That's when he's late. You can see it. Then he taps the wall there. Then he comes in the middle of the curve here. Now there's a lot of steering.
Oh.
Limping.
Now that's not good. We've got race tomorrow, then we've got the world champs. You don't want to be whacking your hip, your knee, your ankle, or anything else.
Very easy track to get down, Martin.
Painful track to get down hard. Sunmin Jung of Korea, bronze medalist here last time out. He's also raced a couple of times in the Intercontinental Cup. I wonder what Richard Bromley has got for this man.
Well, the World Cup title's on the line here with 2 events to go. He is only 24 points back. 24 points. So if he finishes first and Tretyakov finishes 3rd, I think he's only be 1 point behind Tretyakov.
Well, Jung was ahead by 1 point until the last race, and you're right, then Tretyakov was first, he was third.
So he needs to beat Tretyakov both days. He might have a chance to overtake him.
If he's first, he will regain the lead only if Alex is third or worse.
He's doing pretty good. He was behind at the start by 400ths. Now it's 8.
This is super close. 400ths, don't forget, between first and second.
Headway up there. 14 back. I don't think he's going to do it.
76.1. Tretyakov was quicker. 72.3 miles an hour. That's a mile an hour slower than Dukurs.
Third. So he's clean here. He could catch. Remember, Dukurs had problems there.
I think so. Oh! Falls off the final corner.
That's, look at Rich and Bromley look on.
Yeah.
They're looking, you know, they're sitting there with that tense look on their face because they know the World Cup title's on the line for the Olympics.
One more race.
For the Olympic gold medalist who created, you know, what a legend he created for himself.
So Hansen Lee, who was sliding here last time we raced in World Cup and retired after the games. He's now coaching with Richard.
Well, the Russian rocket. Then we got Superman and Dukurs and the Iron Man here.
Let's turn the timing screen around. Would he start? 488.
400's back from Dukurs. 500's back
from Tretyakov.
Tretyakov. Here, that's at almost 78 miles an hour.
And the sled almost hits him in the chin there as he gets banged off the wall. Yeah, they're getting banged up. You know, this is a glider's track. It's tough. Christopher Grothair of Germany just missed a medal here. His only race. Last World Cup he was in 4th place behind Yun. And again, 42nd World Cup start. He's only ever been here once. 495.
9th in World Cup points, missing the first 2 events of the year.
Yeah. Wasn't quite, he was fit pre-season and then injured himself in the pre-season trials. So missed the first couple of races. 2/10 back. So 7th fastest start, 8th place on the splits at the moment.
Good form. See what he does here. The exit slingshot effect.
Down the straightaway now.
Right down the middle. Speed, excellent. A lot of scratching there, but
4th in Altenburg, 6th position in Eagles and last week in Lake Placid.
Boy, he's fallen back 9th now.
This is more like his other race this year, which was 12th place in St. Moritz. Oh, and again at the line, 9th, 56.61.
7th best start, 9th down below.
So he's in a battle with Marcus Wyatt, who's 300s in front, and teammate Kilian von Schleinitz, who's 200s behind. Looks as though he got a bit of a whack in the face from his helmet, falling out through the final corner as well. Take a look here, right at the bottom of the...
Good form, but boy, there was a, look at the head. Yeah. That noise we heard was his chin scratching on the ice, not his toes. And then he came out and whacked the wall on the exit.
You can see just where the bobsleigh runners go in the Kreisel. There's all sorts of patches where it's been patched up because the ice is so brittle. Next up, Jerry Rice of Great Britain, 15th of our 24 sliders. So we've got 5 places left to go and 9 sliders who want to get into the second heat.
Yeah, so now the challenge. This is 10th in World Cup points.
Yeah, raced here in the Intercontinental Cup 2 seasons ago, took a bronze medal.
You know, his best finish of the season was in Eagles, 9th. Which Eagles in this track, to me, Martin, have a lot in common. Yeah. Except Eagles is shorter.
489, that's a good start. Only 600ths off the leader.
Top 5 start. That means he should do no worse than 6th or 7th. With that start on this track, boy, he drifted there, though.
Needs a really confidence-inspiring run today. 1400s back, 7th place. Teammate Marcus Wyatt currently in 8th. Nice and quiet.
Head's way up there, though. Remember, you just heard all that scratching. Let's listen.
Just behind
nothing like the German just came down. You heard all that chin scratch.
But he's down to 11th spot.
Ooh, hit hard there, too.
Was a big hit on that. Wipe speed off the sled. across the line in 14th with a 56.98. So he is ahead of Gong of China in our 15 sleds so far.
No doubt in the field for the second heat.
Yeah.
I got to believe that's good enough for this.
You would think.
I think he's good enough. I would say he's going to be about 18th, 19th with that run.
Yeah.
We're all said and done. I think.
Thanks, Dip. Which is the 5th fastest start.
Yeah.
So he's losing speed all the way down the ice now, whether that's set up or overdriving.
Hey, just like his teammate Marcus Wyatt at the 2nd best start, the British got some athletes out here.
Yep.
And we have one more British athlete to go who might post one of the best starts. Look how high he gets here.
Well, whatever happens with Jack Thomas, because his mum and dad
Have him
brought
back
us
home. Love you.
muffins, we're going to
Cheers.
say very nice things. So there's Jerry Rice. 16th of our 24 sliders, USA's Kyle Brown, the 29-year-old starting his 13th World Cup race. Raced here a couple of times in the Intercontinental Cup, the 2nd tier of sliding. So not the most experienced here. There's Marcus Wyatt up at the top of the track with friends and family, watching before the 2nd heat gets underway. So let's see what Kyle Brown can produce. Best result of the season, 9th place last week in Lake Placid. The top 10 result would go a long way to boosting his confidence. 5 flat.
Springfield College athlete, played all the sports.
We couldn't get 2 more different tracks in a 7-day gap than Lake Placid and Calgary.
Ooh, that's the first person we saw hit in the crossover from 6 to 7. There's not many more major mistakes you can make on a track than that right there. That is going to cost him. Whoa. Well, that's 3/10, and that's not good.
Timing is just off here.
He's still hanging in there, though, but boy, he's going to be... This is a bubble run right here.
Well, right now, this is the slowest run. He will be in danger of not making the 2nd heat. 57.44.
Boy, with all those issues down the track, it was the 2nd worst speed.
Well, he's beat himself up, but not as much as the walls did. 4 to 5, massive hit, and then 5 to 6 down that short straightaway.
There's a
big
crossover
hit.
between 6 and 7. Yeah. There's a lot of people that try and cheat over there, but he got over there too quick, hit the take-on, and watch him get higher, and watch him cross over, hits the take-on. Yeah. That forces him into the middle of the Omega curve on that and then down here, this is in there, the finish line.
Well, yeah, down towards corner.
No, that was 7. That was the same shot.
Yeah.
And then here, watch him in the exit of Kreisel.
Again, trying to let it fly and just up late on the wall.
It was an aggressive line.
Yeah.
But that was costly.
Pretty hard hits, I'm afraid, for Kyle Brown. Alexander Tretyakov leads with 16 of our 24 sleds down. Calgary, Alberta, Canada, 7th race at the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Martin Hayden and John Morgan trackside. As Vladislav Marchenkov of Russia boosts off. Bronze medalist here in Intercontinental Cup in January 2017. Decent start, 5:14 for him. He's not the fastest of the Russians by any stretch.
Yeah, this is the first Russian athletes from the females we saw earlier, and then the 2 Russians so far. And this is the first athlete we've seen from Russia without a good start.
Yeah. Vlad has got a very German style of sliding, if you know what I mean. He finds speed down the ice. Unfortunately, this is a little wild and ragged. He's not finding much.
Martin, he got 8th in Innsbruck, which is, you can get 8th in Innsbruck with a medium or below average start. That's some good drive lines.
Has not got the fluency here that he did in Innsbruck.
74 miles an hour into the finish, and then, boy, that end of that curve is sucking up a few athletes there.
Yeah, there's going to be an awful lot of very bruised left shoulders by the end of this weekend.
He's ahead of Kyle Brown, but boy, he's going to be running the bubble.
Yeah. I have to say, I fear for Kyle Brown. I'm not sure he's going to make the cut, and I think Marchenkov might be really in trouble as well.
Boy, pleasant conditions here for the athletes compared to what we've been through all week. Look at this, exit of 8. Try to get away from that wall, then you bang it, and then let the sled come straight. But he's coming across the ice to the other wall, and he's the first guy to he taps on the way into the Kreisel, forces him up, down. He's still got problems on the exit of the Kreisel, as you can see here. So that mistake he made up in the exit of 8, 150 yards later, he's still dealing with the mistake.
USA's Greg West next up, the 33-year-old, making his 17th World Cup start, raced here in NAC, and did the World Cup back here in 2012. But other than that, very little experience here. Last week, 8th place in Lake Placid. And again, there's that unique fingertip start. 5'11",
14th best start.
Yeah, a little quicker than Marchenkov. Let's see what he can find in terms of quiet lines down the track.
He's been here a lot.
So far,
he's from Springfield, Missouri. His teammate, Greg West, or Kyle Brown, went to Springfield College. Yeah. So there's 2 different Springfields.
Yeah, because of the Simpsons, everybody knows there's about 8 or something in the States. Not bad.
Still hanging in around 14th.
All right, picking up speed.
13th there now. Exit. A little bit of a tap.
Don't want to say it too early, but at the moment he's definitely driving himself into the race. Down at the bottom now.
That tap cost him at least 1 spot. Oh, he's going to hurt there too.
14th or 15th at the line, and it is 16th, 57.03, 300ths ahead of Vladislav Marchenkov. So he's 16 with 2 behind him. He's behind Gung of China and Jerry Rice. So Jerry Rice is definitely in the race. He's got 4 sleds behind him, and we will cut 4 sleds.
8th place in Lake Placid last week. Before that, all double digits, but here pretty much what he's done the rest of the season. Good exit here, the toe out a little bit.
Last World Cup race here for him was in 2012. That's a long while ago.
Tap there, exit of Kreisel, not too bad. Tap before the finish curve hurt him.
Canadian jackets at the top of the track, and that means our next starter, 19th of 24, is Kevin Boyer, the 25-year-old from Western Canada, in his 22nd World Cup start now.
Good starter. This kid can start the sled.
How can he translate that into a good
just see
run
that in his gait. He's got a quick turnover. 96, 9th best start. Boy, I thought he'd do better than that one.
496, raced here in North America's Cup. He's not raced here at any higher levels, though. So again, for a Canadian, very limited experience on this track.
He was high, 6th, did not get penalized.
9th at the start, still 9th as he heads down to the Kreisel.
Down the straightaway now, 37 minutes of a set.
21.4, that's about a mile an hour slower than Tretyakov.
Good exit in Kreisel. Well, there's some home track knowledge right there. 67, now he's slipped to 12th. This is where his experience is at the high-speed part of the track. Oh! That looked...
12th of the line, another uncomfortable landing off the final corner.
He's in the field, second heat.
Yep.
Canadians will have 3 in the field.
Best race of the season for him, 10th place in Innsbruck again. Good start, gliders track. Paddles his way up to the finish area.
I said 3, now the Canadians will have 2 in the field.
Well, Greszczeshin, where's he? Grizz is in 6th place, first of our starters.
And then Boyer's in 12th, and the start here's pretty good. Look at the beautiful view.
Yeah.
At night, you can see this Calgary skyline from that angle.
Well, at night from the start, you used to have to look right for Calgary. Now it's everywhere. It's 360 around us. Calgary has expanded.
Hey, fellas, thanks for watching.
All right. He'll be on his home ice next weekend. Ronald Orderset of Switzerland, 20th in the last World Cup race here. 28-year-old is starting now his 32nd World Cup race. He's only ever raced here the once. So let's see if he can make the field again.
He's been pretty good this season. He's a good athlete at the start.
Yep.
Isn't he one of these guys we say is too smart to be in the sport?
Yeah, much too smart.
What's he
much
got a degree in?
smart.
Electrical engineering?
I think, yeah. Hasn't missed a cut this season. Let's hope that's not the curse. 496, same as Kevin Boyer at the start.
Martin, I hope you didn't curse him.
Yeah. Real sprinter's legs as well. Let's see what he's got here on the ice.
Drift. So 9th to 11th right off the bat, going a little high, and 6th, safe.
Ian Marina, his Swiss teammate, both missed the Lake Placid race.
Do some scratching there.
And he's coming down the straightaway.
11th place on the splits.
13.
9th fastest start.
Stays like this, he'll be in the race. That's going to hurt him a little bit, but
Speed's not great.
He doesn't hit here on the exit right here. To get through here, okay, yes. 15th.
A lot of scratching going on. Very noisy.
19th. Boy, did he lose a lot of time there on the bottom.
All right,
But
19th of 20.
That puts Kyle Brown on the bubble.
So Kyle Brown 20th, Ronald Alderset 19th, Vladislav Marchenkov 18th, Greg West 17th. They are in danger. Gung of China is in.
Well, Jack Thomas coming up is going to have an unbelievable start. So is Hansen from Norway.
Yeah.
Ander Maribel is an old fox on this track. He knows the track well. Look at the form. A little bit of a toe coming up. But look how low his head is.
Yeah.
That's that scratching.
Yeah. The helmet's right down there. You can see the black mark where there used to be paint and there isn't.
Okay, we don't know the inside information on that, but
I'm guessing that's a sponsor, because I don't know what the word means. Alexander Tretyakov leads, 20 sleds down, 4 to go. It is now time to go fast or go home for Jack Thomas. Parents are here, staying in the same hotel as he and us. Has not raced here before.
Well, like the other British athletes, this is a good starter.
Yep. 19th World Cup start for him. Let's see what he's got in the force. 494. Now he needs a smooth run. He was leaving the dinner table the other night and his mum called after him, don't forget your water bottle. Mum, I do this every week. Once a mum, always a mum. Nice looking run so far.
He's hanging in there, 8th, 8th, all three, which is great.
Right.
Doesn't have the great experience coming down the track yet, but when you got a start time, you have a chance. Especially on this track, which is known as a starter's track.
Right, just dropping out of the top 10 at the moment. He needs to really be as smooth as he can from here on down.
He's 14th now. Oh, he looks like he's got a parachute on. He's slowed down.
Wow, a couple of big hits. How much ice is left? And across the line, 16th. Okay,
he's in the field.
All right, it wasn't the prettiest, but he is in the field. He will get a second heat.
That's the experience that he needs, Martin.
3 runs in practice. By the time he leaves here, he'll have done more race runs than he's done practice runs.
Best finish of the year was a 14th in St. Moritz. Was not in Lake Placid last week. Okay, good lines here. Quiet steering. Exit of, there's that expansion joint bump. You can see that line there. Little tap. That's worth a 10th here. Exit of Kreisel. Not bad, Jack. You go on back up.
Jack T-Tray Thomas leaves Jem Bryant, the team manager, to deal with this T-Tray. So Thomas is in, Kyle Brown of the USA is out. Alex Hansen of Norway. Now here's our 22nd starter. He will start among the 5 or 6 fastest. How much can he carry in his cupped hands down to the bottom of the track?
Doesn't have the great reputation of as a glider. He gets the sled going very well.
Been racing here since 2014. He's done North America's and Intercontinental Cup races.
He's
501.
that's not the same start that we've seen him have. So
really notice anything at drift at the start.
Well, he wasn't that good at the start last week at Lake Placid, so where he did not make the cut. You know, and he's got, again, what we saw of him last year. He's in the top 5 start in any of the events he was in.
He's only made the cut in 1 race this year. That was in Winterberg, the 2nd round of the World Cup.
And this is looking
Down the straightaway
18th
now.
of the 65
21st down.
start.
So on the bubble is Ronald Onisat. I think Ronald's going to be okay.
I think he's going to hold off at attempts unless
yeah.
the Viking finds something at the bottom of the track.
Well, the Viking doesn't have his start, so he doesn't have his main tool that he needs. I'd like to talk to him to find out if he's wounded, because this isn't the same start we saw out of him last year.
Kind of at home here in Calgary, his second home, originally from Stavanger in Norway. Lives in Calgary, Alberta. Renata Kutsina there walking up to the finish. We'll see her sliding soon.
Let's say he gets off tenderly. Is he okay here?
There's Phil Searle with the sled.
Looks okay.
Yeah.
Oh, his head's down.
Yeah.
Look at that tray. Look at that little thing come up on his shoulders. That looks a little weird. Exit of Kreisel. Not perfect, but second shot of it. The toe came out. That's like throwing an anchor out.
Hi, Mom.
Not much else to say, I'm afraid. Gets another shot at it tomorrow. And a Mirambel will do as well. He's got a local physio here with him this weekend and is still recovering after lots more surgery this year. Behind the two Dukurs brothers and Alexander Tretyakov, this man is the fourth most experienced World Cup skier in the field. This is his 82nd World Cup race.
Start, it's always his nemesis. Wow. The 23rd best start of 23 sleds, but again, like you said, he's wounded.
Since the last World Cup race here, he's done the last four races. He's actually come in North America's Cup and had double golds twice in a row. So he does know the track.
He knows the track, but he had much better starts then. So again, that's why he didn't participate first part of the season, Martin.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about durability. I mean, how does Tretyakov and Dukurs, does Dukurs ever limp? He's got 120 starts, and you never see the guy limp, and he comes down the middle of every track.
I've seen him with a cold.
Yeah,
that's
flu.
it.
Couple times he's got the flu. That's why his nickname is the Superman.
And still 23rd as he was at the start. He's not going to make the field here, I don't think. Trying to get some ice time
23rd.
before the World Championships.
Well, the start.
Spain.
Start time, Don Andrews.
Particularly on this track, you can't
He
drive yourself.
could just be jogging it off and saving himself too. With two more heats tomorrow, or one more heat tomorrow, getting ready for the Worlds.
Yeah.
He's done pretty good out there in Whistler.
Yeah, you can overdo things at the wrong time, that's for sure. Whistler is what counts.
Boy, got in really early. You see more footprints.
Yeah.
He got in with like 3 steps to go. Then that expansion bump that everybody hits, and he dealt with it okay. But here's low. He's got to go back up. He's got the rudders out with those toes dragging.
Left toe dragging, right toe poised to pull the line back up.
La salida blanda.
Yeah, working hard here.
One more to go.
One more to go, and it is Romania's Mihai Pacianu in his second ever World Cup start. Now, we've seen this kid in the World Championships before. His only ever World Cup start was Altenburg in January.
25th didn't make the goal. He's done now.
I was just about to say, busts out a good start, but pops the grooves.
First guy we see pop the groove. That's strange. I wonder if he overran it, Mark.
Or just over-rotated as he landed on the sled. He is a fast sprinter. I'm afraid that's not going to be enough to get him into the second heat.
So on the Ronald Onisat is feeling better.
Yeah. Kyle Brown is out, Alex Hansen is out, Adam Mirambel, and Mihai. Again, Mihai never on the ice here before, so 3 trips in training maximum, and then he took all 3, and then pops the groove at the start. And like everybody else, training's one thing, but in the race trying to give it the full beans at the start, doing every 100th you can.
Especially on this track.
Yes, on this track of all tracks. He's frustrated. The good news is he gets to try again tomorrow.
This is like a warm-up for the World Championships with 4 heats in 2 days.
Yeah.
World Cups, 2 heats, 1 day. And with this cancellation in Königssee, the athletes get a chance to do a test our muscles. But tomorrow morning at 8:30 is going to be a lot of testing of the muscles.
Okay, so what happens here? Lands just a little heavy on the landing.
Plenty of start groove left.
Yeah, no, it's just a little heavy on the landing. He wasn't quite square as he swan dived onto the sled. And the frustration then, you know, trying to get
you gotta go down
calm.
You're beating yourself up.
And your chin is still 75 miles an hour, an inch off the ice. You've got to focus. So Mihai, tough break at the start.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow comes again. Our first round leader is our World Cup leader. Alexander Tretyakov on the podium. 4 of the last 6 World Cup races here, but he has never won. He's taken nothing other than silvers away from this race, losing to Paul Bohm, Martins Dukurs, Martins Dukurs, Martins Dukurs, and Martins Dukurs.
Really?
Yeah. Funnily enough. Oh, and Jeff Payne. Alexander Tretyakov leads from his nemesis, Martins Dukurs, Sunbin Jung, quarter-second back. That's possibly battle over there. Thomas in 4th ahead of Nikita Tretyakov, Dave Grez-Cheshing. What a great run for the Grizz.
First guy down, too.
Really huge run. Austin Florin 11th, very impressed with that. Harris Skavich 13th, Florinauer 14th, Jerry Rice 15th. Ahead of Jack Thomas, Greg West 18th, Vladislav Marchenkov and Ronald Ardisek complete the field. Carl Brown, Alex Hansen and Amir Ambel and Mihai Petrianu of Romania will be the 4 who don't get to go in the final run. They'll be watching the women and the second heat of the men's competition. And the men are back on ice after the women's race. So you can stay with us to see the women in action coming up shortly. And the men's race will be back on ice at, I've lost my time, I think 0100 GMT.